Season 2 of the Black Tech Green Money podcast is brought to you by Lexus and the December to Remember sales event. From graduation parades to birthday parties this year, Driveways hosted some new traditions. Here's to celebrating them all. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. Afrotech World 2020. Gilly the King and social media influencer and disruptor Wallow267 are the hosts of the $1 Million Worth of Game show, a weekly podcast which is the perfect blend of discussing music, real-life issues, personal experiences, honest advice, and comedy. In our interview at Afrotech, I asked Gilly his thoughts on how we as black people in business can stand confident about our value, our perspective, our sauce when it's being challenged or not respected at a premium.
Number one, you got to believe in what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? That's number one. So if you being innovative and you being creative and you know in your mind that this is what I feel is going to be the next shit, you got to roll with that. I would never devalue myself for nothing. You feel what I'm saying? I know what I'm worth. Even back when I was doing record deals. You feel me? I flew down to Suave House. You know, Tony Draper, you know, the realest CEO that I ever met in my life. Shout out to Tony Draper. But he tried to do the CEO wine and dine rapper shit to me. We got down there, we pull up to the gate. I never seen no house like this in my life. Fucking gates open up. He got the Range Rover, the Viper with the zip up windows, the Benz, the Bentleys, all kinds of shit. You know what I mean? I go in the crib, we bust, don't talk no business. I'm down there 2 whole days. Yeah. I'm meeting superstars. I'm playing 2-on-2 against Jagged Edge. And I'm a nigga straight from North Philly.
Yeah.
Eyes wide like this. The artist pulling up, his artist pulling up that's already on 8 Ball pull up. He in the big body 500 Benz. MJG pull up, he in the old school. I'm like, God damn, these niggas doing it. Next day, 8 Ball pull up, he in something different. I'm like, damn. When it was time to talk that business though, wasn't no devaluing going on. This is what I want. He said, I ain't never gave a deal out that big in my life. I said, well, it was nice meeting you, Drake, but I'm going back to Philly. And he said, you know what? I like that. I like that. You got that. So it was just me believing in myself. You feel what I'm saying? And believing it, because sometimes you get around these companies and a motherfucker been in play longer than you and they had you doubting yourself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't think it's supposed to go like that because bitch, you've been doing the same shit since 81. It's time to change.
I'm Will Lucas, and this is Black Tech Green Money. I'm going to introduce you to some of the biggest names, some of the brightest minds, and brilliant ideas. If you're black in building or simply using tech to secure your bag, this podcast is for you. Ryan Glover is co-founder and chairman at Greenwood Bank, the new digital bank he's building with Michael Render, aka Rapper Killer Mike, Ambassador Andrew Young, and serial tech entrepreneur Paul Judge. Greenwood's mission is to help blacks and Latinos take control of their financial destiny and build generational wealth. Previous to Greenwood Bank, Ryan was in the music business as co-founder of Noontime, the music publishing and management company which represented people like Jazzy Faye, Sierra, Grammy Award-winning producer Brian Michael Cox, and others. He's also founder of Bounce TV, the national cable network, and the restaurant in Atlanta, Agency. Ryan got his career jumpstart at Howard alongside Puff Daddy and Kasim Reed, who would go on to be the mayor of Atlanta. As a student, Kasim Reed compelled Ryan to produce a hip-hop concert for homecoming weekend. Of all the people who could have produced that concert which set off his stellar career, I wondered why Ryan was recruited. What made him so special all those years ago?
So I've always been excited about the entertainment industry, right? But I can't rap, sing, dance my way out of a paper bag, right? So I've always been excited about entertainment, but from a business perspective. So back then on campus, you know, I saw the energy that was being created, not just on our campus, but the musical energy that existed clearly in New York, clearly in California, where I'm from, and Atlanta. And I thought it would be an amazing idea, Will, to bring that energy to Washington, D.C. and to Howard's campus, right? Amidst the wonderful culture of the go-go experience that existed in DC. So it's almost like gumbo that was being created right there on Howard's campus. And I tell you this, you know, being at Howard during those times was an incredible education, right? You know, not only was I learning, Will, you know, scholastically, but I was also learning other cultures, really, within my own culture, from individuals from different parts of the country, right? And built relationships with those individuals from Chicago, from New York, from DC, from Texas. And those relationships, as I tell my children today, are the relationships that have helped me become successful in life across multiple industries, right? So, as you know, I went to Howard University, graduated from Howard, relocated to Atlanta, started a music and publishing company called Noontime. We made records at Noontime from everybody from Mary J. Blige to Aaliyah. We made records for Puff. We signed Jeezy, Noontime. We signed Sierra. But those relationships that we used to build my first business, our first business, I garnered on Howard's campus, right? So it was the relationships that I built, and it was also the ability to do business, right? With the individuals that I met at Howard. And that's really my foundation of business and how I move into the future of Greenwood.
There's so many young people who listen to this podcast and have dreams about being that front and center performer or that athlete or whatever. And you said this, you know, I can't rap, sing, or dance, whatever, to save my life. In the pursuit of the business side of the entertainment industry, at Noontime is where I met you, you know, so many years ago, feels like. What did you realize about the economical difference between the performer who ultimately gets the bright lights and takes the selfies with fans versus the person who may walk into a room or go into a crowd undetected or unnoticed?
So on the economic side, let me just address that. You know, it's lights, camera, action. So saving should be always at the forefront of anybody in entertainment or any other industries frontal lobe in their thinking, right? Because as we all know, in entertainment specifically, but just in life, nothing lasts forever. So once you have that understanding that you mentioned bright lights, at some point those lights will dim. I don't care if you are on stage or I don't care if you are backstage, right? There is always someone who is going to be a little more talented than you are, a little younger than you, a little faster than you. So you really have to look at your talent and understand, Will, that it's everything lasts in chapters and in seasons. So you have to prepare yourself accordingly. You know, as a business person, you know, I've been saying the art of recalibration is what allows you as a businessman to continue to grow. You know, I've been in music, I've been in television and film. Now I am in banking services, in digital banking services industry. And, my recalibration has allowed me to change industries, right? But my strategies in the way I operate as a businessman remains consistent. And that really starts with, for me, trusting in God and putting God first with whatever I do, right? And then also doing the best that I can to treat people the way I want to be treated, whether they are on my side of the negotiating table or whether they're on the opposite side of the table. A lot of times people don't realize, truly honesty is really the best policy. Whether you, right, whether you say something to somebody that you think that they don't want to hear, and they might not want to hear it. But at the end of the day, if you're dealing with grown-ups will understand it and respect it. And then that will allow you, no matter where your professional career journey takes you, will allow you to garner that same respect with that earlier individual or with the individual that you're currently dealing with in that given time. So, those are my two basic strategies of whatever. Listen, if I move to opening up a hot dog stand in front of a sports arena, I'm going to use the same strategies I use in banking, the same strategies I use in television and film, same strategies and methodologies I use in music.
Yeah, and that honesty gives them the opportunity to deal with it, however they got to deal with it, but come back to the table for everybody's benefit. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. You mentioned relationships, and I saw an interview with you where you said the best business advice you ever received was never give your partner surprises. When I think about that advice, I consider how much a business partnership is like a marriage, and probably shouldn't be entered into frivolously, right? And if then we are the culture, as in Black people, if we are the culture that drives all global culture, whether you're talking about food, fashion, music, sports, or whatever, then if you put two or three of us together, we should dominate, right? If we're the global lead in all of these things, and we're not in everything. And so I wonder, is it because we may be misaligned with our partnerships, or is it something else? I wonder what your thoughts are on how to build successful business partnerships, because you've done so many over your career. Well, I should say.
Yeah. So building successful partnerships, in all candor, oftentimes people look at, like myself, they only remember the successes. But Will, I have had multiple upon multiple upon multiple failures, right? To go along with those successes. I've actually learned more and appreciated, and this sounds crazy, more in my failures than my successes, right? And in those failures, I learned really how to treat people and how to identify not just talent, but also partnerships, that I went and applied those tactics and strategies to businesses that ended up working, right? So, we live in a generation now where everybody wants everything microwavable. You mentioned party promotion at Howard. Man, I used to study, go to school, study, take a nap at night, wake up at 12 a.m. in the morning, and go pass out 3,000, 4,000 flyers hand to hand at an event, at an upcoming event that I was promoting into the wee bit hours, and then get up and do it all over again, weeks on end, while at school, while promoting, right? That's the grind. Now kids, a lot of times, and rightly so, technology is great. I'm thank the Lord for technology, but technology could be a gift and a curse at the same time. Because although, you know, the younger generation is definitely on the hustle, and I love it. I love everything that I see from the younger generation across multiple industries. But there's something to the fact, to the art for me of putting a flyer on a car, right? That,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I did that. I did that.
That you can't duplicate that grind.
Yeah. Hand-to-hand
And
combat. Yeah.
yeah, and that grind is always in the forefront of my mind, whatever I do. It's ironic, man. The more uh, the world perceives of my success, uh, the more unstable I become, right? Because I'm like, you know, I can't really process success. I can't process past success. I can only focus on what's in front of me,
I get it.
right?
I get it.
Yeah, I'm not looking backwards. I'm looking forwards. Because there's still more work to be done. There's still more good trouble to get into, you know? So that's my mindset, man.
Um, Far too many of us in our community have dreams of starting companies and don't have adequate business banking relationships, right? Or banking relationships, period. In fact, too many of us avoid banks altogether, and or just use banks for depositing their check and debit cards, right? And you said in a previous interview, this is our time, speaking about Greenwood, to take back control of our lives and our financial future. For a would-be entrepreneur in our community, what does a good banking relationship look like? I know this is a big question, but what does a good banking relationship look like? How are we supposed to engage with banks, bankers, I should say, even for services other than just making deposits into an account? And what level of banker should we be talking to? Like, should we start with the teller? Like, walk us through this.
Yeah, so I believe, speaking of technology, we're in a new digital age. So 65% of Americans are banking digitally currently. That number is ticking up around 3% per year. And there are really no authentic digital banking solutions that cater to the African American and Latinx community, really until Greenwood. So we're a fintech neobank that provides modern digital banking services for the culture, right? So some of our services, your full service bank in your hand, savings and spending account. We have Apple and Android Pay, peer-to-peer money transfers, mobile deposits, global ATM network, no hidden fees, and one of my favorite features, 2-day early pay. But the fact of the matter is, there are 3 problems, Will, that we will solve. And there's a reason why we're standing Greenwood up. One, in our communities, there are far too many predatory banking services that we cater to. We want to extinguish those predatory services. 2, an ode to Greenwood, we want to be a part of the solution of recirculating capital back into our communities, as what was happened in the Greenwood district in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We often hear about Black Wall Street and all of the thriving businesses that existed during the 20s and that time. But the reason why those businesses flourished is because $1 recirculated 36 times in that one community. And that allowed the barber, the banks, the grocers, the attorneys, right? The doctors, right? The bowling alleys, whatever businesses were in those communities, that money recirculated and everybody got a bite at the apple. Unfortunately for us in our community today, $1, man, recirculates 6 hours. So at Greenwood, through our Greenwood Gives Back Roundup program, our customers have the opportunity to donate their rounded up change to 3 causes we care about. One, the NAACP to fight civil rights. 2, UNCF to support education. And 3, there's a wonderful company in Atlanta that feeds the hungry and homeless called Gooder. And our customers have the opportunity to donate a portion of their rounded up change to either one of those organizations or a combination of the 3. And then every quarter, Greenwood, we will, as a banking solution, donate and match those funds to those organizations. The third solution, the third problem that we're going to solve is the deployment of capital in our communities, right? So, I've started a couple of businesses that have done well. None of those businesses were started or stood up with banking capital. So, we don't have the relationships that our counterparts have that allows us to create wealth personally or professionally like others do. And we plan on solving that problem or being a part of the solution to that problem. So really, to answer your question, we are an authentic banking solution that knows how to, because I am one, identify small business owners that have great ideas, have wonderful talent, have a great support system, have a marketplace, but just don't have the capital to turn their business from a micro business to a major business. And we're bullish on that as a company.
Season 2 of the Black Tech Green Money podcast is brought to you by Lexus. Known for celebrating driveway moments for over 30 years, Lexus invites you to create more with exclusive offers on the most popular Lexus models at the December to Remember sales event. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. This year I read the book The Color of Money by Mercer Baradaran, and she talked about how Black people have not yet overcome the mindset and systemic oppression of being capital to having capital. Ryan's new effort with Greenwood Bank is on a mission to change that, but many have tried before. How will Greenwood make an impact on this pervasive issue? Ryan Glover speaks on it.
Well, we have good reason. You read the book, so you understand. We have good reason to mistrust banks. So, in 1800s, the Freedmen's Bank that actually duped thousands of African Americans out of their savings, and those trustees who ran the bank misappropriated their funds into investments that never panned out. There are over 3,000 individuals who lost money in that one bank. And that actual tragedy and travesty, unfortunately, from a folklore standpoint, that story has been told generation to generation, and we haven't gotten over it as a culture. There's no mystery, or there's no falsehood in our grandparents or great grandparents actually using their mattresses as their savings and deposits, right? Because bank mistrust. And then you fast forward, all of the issues that some traditional banks have had with predatory lending, redlining, of the sort. The current community we're not trusting banks currently, right? So, we know also too that we are, as a community, a lot less likely to receive loans than our white counterparts. So all of that combustible bad will for decades has created a mistrust in banks, right? We are attempting to build that trust back. And we're coming at and approaching it from a standpoint of, I am not a banker, but we have hired bankers to operate our business. But me not being a physical banker, I understand, I believe, what the community and the small business person and just the everyday African American and Latinx customer needs to understand on creating an authentic banking solution. And we're speaking directly and authentically to that individual. And hopefully over time, we will build trust back into the community from a banking perspective. And yes, there are other great African-American banks that exist. But I candidly think, none of the traditionals or the African-American current banks are speaking to the generation that we currently exist in the way we organically and authentically can. And that's what we're going to do.
Love it. You've broken into very well, these industries that have high bars in a lot of ways to get into, whether it be owning television stations and now owning a bank, etc. Talk to me, like, number one, like what is it that Ryan has in his background that says, you know what, we're going to give him the keys to this next level of success? Because a lot of people may go to start a television network and can't get it done. A lot of people want to start a bank, can't get it done, not for lack of trying, but what is it that people miss?
Here's my secret. Partner with people as smart or smarter than you in those industries. Okay? That's where I start. I always start with whether it be music, television, and film, now banking services. I start with, where is the opportunity that could be filled that's not, right? In music, we started Noontime from the auspices of, there are a ton of amazing production companies and record companies that are doing amazing work. So Def, Bad Boy, Def Jam, Death Row, right? Death Row came a little bit after us, but you get my point. But we at Noontime, we all knew, myself, Chris Hicks, and Henry Lee, we all knew that none of us could rap, sing, or dance our way out of a paper bag, but our angle was being the best business people that we could be to support the talent, right? That led the company. We weren't the talent. And the other companies that we were competing with, they were led by talent. Our angle was not to lead by talent, but lead through business and business executives, right? So that was our niche. Bounce. We are the first African-American broadcast network in existence, right? I knew that Black and brown folks, wanted to watch compelling, captivating, entertaining television programming. But we all don't have dollars to enlist in a cable operator, right? So how can we become the first over-the-air network that provided free, entertaining content to the masses? Over-the-air broadcast content like an NBC, ABC, Fox. And we did it. And partnered with individuals who knew that business like the back of their hands. Same thing with Greenwood. There's an opportunity to serve a zero-served African-American and Latinx community from a digital banking perspective. Partnering with bankers and individuals of like thinking to grow this business is the way we're growing the Greenwood banking solution. So all of the businesses that I've ever started always have started with a mission and then a devout commitment to create compelling content that I believe will resonate with our consumers, and then do it consistently. And that has just grown. And I believe, going back to trust, Will, based on my past successes and failures that folks don't talk about, I have built trust as an executive. And that has carried over from music to television and film and now to banking. And that trust is resonating in the community with our mission at Greenwood.
Speaking of which, you were appointed to the MARTA board back in, I think, 2017, which to me indicates like that you see the correlations between like political power or influence and a true opportunity to serve your community and make it better. So many business people avoid getting involved in government or politics, and so many government types either avoid or don't have the chops to succeed in enterprise. For those of us out there who are growing companies, but also are getting called on to serve, how do you recommend we or they both think about their responsibility and their overall legacy and ability to create change for the community and for, their lineage?
So here's how I'll answer that and kind of be around the block, but I'll get to my point. So I have 5 children from the ages of 21 to 7. And I believe in that the more time that you invest into your children, the more successful they will become, and the more valuable from an economic standpoint they will become for themselves. Okay, so that time that I invest into my children may be perceived or directly a time suck for me that is not registering to a dollar earned, right? But I understand that that investment that I don't reap a monetary benefit from will harvest itself in my children's life generationally, that will provide for generational wealth down the road. Okay. Here's the analogy. The more you lend your talents and your services to causes and organizations that span outside of where you directly earn a living to, will build and harvest relationships and value, right? That you will benefit from. And you might not benefit from it directly or the next day or the next week, but inevitably you will benefit directly, or or you will be the benefactor, or you will allow someone else to benefit from the knowledge that you provide to them, which is a value, right? So, I get asked to do favors often. And a lot of times, individuals say, hey, well, if you can do this for me, I will do this for you. I will never do favors looking for a direct return, right? Because I know, and I've been living long enough to know that return will come in a different form and fashion, maybe not even directly back to me, but someone that I have a relationship with. Or get this, I may need that same favor of the person in 10 years, of the person that asked me for the favor 10 years previous. So I like to bank my favors. No pun intended.
That's good. That's good, man. That's really, really good. That was heavy right there. Season 2 of the Black Tech Green Money podcast is brought to you by Lexus, who's been celebrating driveway moments for over 30 years with the Lexus December to Remember sales event, where you can find exclusive offers on the most popular Lexus models. Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer. What kind of benefit did going digital, all digital, have for you in Greenwood? Like, could you have achieved your mission of building wealth, money circulation in the Black community and generational wealth transfer with brick and mortar? And here's what I'm getting at before you answer it. What is different about the opportunity in doing business today at scale versus, say, 10 years ago or 15 years ago?
Yeah, so brick and mortar, no. Because our message can resonate in California, it can resonate in Chicago, it can resonate in Atlanta, it can resonate in Savannah, it can resonate in DC, it can resonate in Newark, it can resonate in Compton, it can resonate currently domestically, it's going to resonate internationally as well. We could not stand up brick and mortar banks fast enough, right? In order to, I believe, keep up with the demand of the service that we are going to provide. Two, I believe that those brick and mortar costs are not necessarily archaic in having to do, but don't serve the customer as well as a digital offering will. Because at some point, the customer pays for that brick and mortar spend. It trickles down in some way, shape, or form, okay? We nor any other bank or charities. So we will make money, but we hope to make our customers a lot more money as well than they're currently making as well. So that's our philosophy on brick and mortar.
And finally, Ryan, I'm going to take us back to the beginning because I want to end on this, which I think is a really powerful thing. So you graduated with a degree in accounting, and after a while, I read the story, it said after a while of working in the field, you called to tell your mom that you hated working in accounting, and she cursed you out for about 30 straight minutes, and afterwards gave you your blessing to go and do your thing in music. And so the chapters of your career look something like, accounting, to music, to fashion with Ryan Kinney, to TV, and now to banking. For people who today might feel that sunk cost of spending so much time pursuing something or so much time in an industry that may not fill them and keeps them from switching gears, what do you hope your story inspires in them?
Be brave, right? Trust God and be brave. And thirdly, you've got to be more in line with your passion than the money that you think you'll make. The harder you chase a dollar, the faster that dollar will run away from you. You follow your passion, you follow your heart, and you follow your talent. All right. Listen, I want to play second base for the Atlanta Braves right now, right? At 50, I still think I can turn a mean double play. But I'm 50 and I can't turn a mean double play like a guy 18, right? 19, 20. That's been right. That's in the major. Right. So I'm passionate about baseball. I love the sport, but my talent isn't there. So you got to marry. You got to marry being brave with passion, with, for me, faith in God and talent, right? And a lot of times when I say talent, it may not be personal talent that you own, but you have to be intelligent enough to partner with individuals who have that talent that you need, that can work with the talent that you have in order to make your vision grow. So that would be my 3 or 4 keys to success.
Black Tech Green Money is a production of Blavity Afro Tech. It is produced by Morgan DeBon and me, Will Lucas, with additional production support by Love Beach and Ray Veneer Board. Special thank you to Micah Davis and Zakar Zavagnon, like the wine. And yes, that's his real name. Learn more about my guests and other tech disruptors and innovators at afrotech.com. Go get your money. Peace and love.